Our expert panelists joining us today are Dr. Richard Palmquist, integrative veterinarian and owner of Centinela Animal Hospital. He's an author, lecturer, and teacher. Dr. Christina Chambreau, internationally known homeopathic veterinarian, lecturer, and teacher. Joan Ranquet, animal communicator, teacher, author, lecturer, and owner of Communication with All Life University. And Brendan Golia, professional pet trainer, behavior expert, and owner of OC Canine Coaching. Welcome to Smart Pet Talk. I'm your host, Anna DeVere. In this special episode, we're excited to be joined by not only a special guest, but an expert panel member of Smart Pet Talk, Joan Ranquet. She's an animal communicator, energy healer, TEDx speaker, author, educator, and founder of Communication with All Life University. Joan is the author of several books, including her latest, Emotional Freedom Technique for Animals and Their Humans. She's deemed a celebrity animal communicator in an AMC channel documentary. Joan has been featured in dozens of media outlets, including The Hollywood Reporter, Pet Nation on Dateline NBC, Today on NBC, Good Morning America on ABC, Animal Planet, The National Enquirer, and The Los Angeles Times, to name a few. Welcome, Joan. Brendan has a question for you.
All right, Joan, I'm really excited to talk to you about what you do today. This is something that I don't have a lot of experience with. So I want to really hear from you exactly, what is EFT? I know what it stands for. You can tell us that too. But what is it? How did you get started with it? And how is it helping animals?
Okay, I'm so excited to share. So EFT is emotional freedom technique. And what that is tapping on simple acupressure points that were chosen in a certain sequence. And these particular points were chosen because they're calming points. Some acupressure points can be tonifying, could be stimulating, but these are calming points. And in traditional Chinese medicine, they believe that acupressure points are connected to meridians, which are connected to organ systems, and those organ systems are connected to emotions. And so when we tell a challenging story, something that has triggered us emotionally or has upset us or traumatized us, while tapping on these calming points, we eventually calm the nervous system down and bring about a bit of peace around the story. So we don't forget the story, but it doesn't trigger us as much.
How do you tell a story with an animal? Exactly.
Well,
what do you mean?
I use animal communication, but I do have a book out. And in here, I have a bunch of questions to get people to think about, like if we were to take a situation and you thought at the very core, how does this animal feel about it? Then you would be able to break down the story from there using feeling. I always say it isn't intellectual freedom technique, it's emotional freedom technique. And we can all come up with a pretty simple emotion that we know our animals are feeling.
And that's actually an important issue about this, because it's not therapy, or it is
Right.
a therapy, but it isn't psychotherapy. We're so inculcated by, like, tell me about your mother, everything's your mother's fault,
Right.
It isn't about fault finding. It's not about blaming. It's actually about getting this picture that's stuck in the nervous system to move so that you can actually visualize what's happening in your life in present time, which is why it's called freedom. If you're stuck in something that happened in the past and you haven't processed it, can't process it, don't know what to do, all those confusions get tied up in your nervous system. And so the body can't respond in present time. You're constantly telling the present time story, and you're constantly telling the story that isn't happening anymore. And your body actually doesn't know what to do. Which story do I follow? So when you tap, you actually bring that nervous system into present time, and that allows the body to experience what's happening versus what didn't happen. And one more thing that I think is really important about this technique is, if you try and do that, like by yourself, if you try and find your traumatic incident, you're actually in a point of overwhelm, so you can't find it. But if you tap, it'll kind of come up. And so a person who's actually doing this technique very commonly won't know what's upsetting them. You start tapping because they're upset. And then as you tap, all of a sudden they start to giggle. And they're like, oh my God, like when I was 4 years old, I fell off this car and this guy ran over my leg and my dad beat me and told me I shouldn't go out in the street. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? Like, I just got run over by a car. And actually, they're not upset about being run over by the car. They're upset about somebody who should be a terminal that loves them being in this enemy position, and they can't process it. So you don't have to process it. All you have to do is release it. And then when you release it, you become more conscious and more able to respond and see what's going on. At least that's my understanding.
Yeah, well, I might bring you with it on every one of my next speaking engagements because that was awesome. But and when you think about it, also like overwhelm is almost the sensation of too many emotions being like clogged, right? It's sadness and frustration, and the when you get to like I'm overwhelmed, all of a sudden it's like, oh, you know what? I'm sad. I'm really sad about this situation. And when you start to process those things, you can't stay in sadness forever. It will start to move, and you don't have to do much. You don't have to do much more than tapping to start feeling the relief.
And those cells respond instantly. They did a study a long time ago where they showed people these slapstick comedic movies, like Keystone Cops and things like that. And then they took blood from them and took that blood to the laboratory and put it on a petri dish with bacteria. And the bacteria actually get ingested. The white blood cells run around like madmen, eating the bacteria like crazy when you're happy and laughing. But when you're not, I'm sorry, my computer's doing weird things. When you're not happy, if I show you a death scene from, Love Story, when everybody's crying and they take the white blood cells, same person, and they put them on a dish with the same bacteria, they sit there like a fried egg and they don't eat the bacteria. So the cells of the body respond to emotion instantly, which is why EFT can be so powerful. If you're stuck in pain or stuck in sadness, your body is giving an order from the central nervous system that you are about to die or about to get run over by a car or about to be beaten by your dad or whatever the situation is, right? And when you come to present time, all of a sudden an updated communication comes through, and the body can go like, oh, I thought we were about to die. And it's like, yeah. So,
and when we live in a state of I thought I was about to die, the fight or flight is up. And when the fight or flight is up, then we have all sorts of other challenges behaviorally or wellness wise.
So that's a question for you. Often we talk about when we're working with animals' behavior issues is to not use the therapy in the midst of an upset, like when you're trying to get them into the car, but to do it ahead of time. So when is the best time to do the EFT? And we haven't talked yet about how easy it is and how do they learn how to do that? Anybody can do this.
Anybody can do it. I think the best time to do it, and I want to talk also about like when to do it on the human and when to do it on the animal. But the best time to do it, is when things are good, because as you know, like when somebody's afraid and the adrenals shoot off, they're like, shh. When they're in fight or flight, it's more challenging to bring them down, although you can. But you want to be practicing this thing before you get to the event. So say, for example, with fireworks, I put up a video, about 5 years ago, and it gets a bunch of views every year around the 4th of July but I put it out in May so that people start doing it. And the comments every year, if you scroll down, so many people say, I started doing this early, and by the time the fireworks came off, either my animal was completely calm or my animal came to me during the fireworks and wanted me to tap on him. So
don't you just love that when they come? They actually come and go, do the thing.
Yeah.
And so people and animals, different times?
Well, I mean, I think it's a really important thing to recognize that I always say that where they're not mirroring us, I know that's a common belief, but I believe that they have their own trajectory and their own will, their own little soul's purpose, and they can be compounded by our feelings. So if we have, so all of those things, you know, they are their own being. And two people, a person and an animal, would have anxiety for completely different reasons, but they both may be experiencing it, and they both may trigger each other. But if you think about, I'm going to get to the core of my anxiety and I'm going to work on what I believe the core of your anxiety is, then you start to see things really calm down in the household. But the person, so let's take reactivity as an example. So when a person is walking out and they've got the leash and they see the other dog come around the corner, they start to tense up, which goes through the leash immediately. Their pictures, words, and feelings are basically uh-oh, and maybe some cuss words. And then the animal gets on alert and goes into fight or flight and is like, oh, that dog, right? So then, so you've got, the person has to be calmed down about this because they're traumatized by their own dog just completely changing before their very eyes in a split second. And the animal is like, well, this is weird. She's weird. It's that dog, right? So you're tapping on then the dog for the fear, and the dog may actually even love other dogs, but it's trapped in this behavior. So you would be tapping on the dog about the fear and excitement, and then eventually you'd move it into, and I never use the words positive or negative, but you'd move it into the outcome that you want. And for the person, you'd be tapping on maybe the trauma of whatever the first experience was, whether the dog was attacked by another dog or the dog became the aggressor out of nowhere. You'd want to tap on their shock that they seem to go back into every time then they see another dog.
Or it could be other emotions, like it could be embarrassment.
Could
oh my
be
God, my dog is acting up. So how
Absolutely.
about, I just had an idea. How about if the person in this
scenario,
where they're connected in this scenario, if the person first did a week of tapping on themselves for whatever was going on in their mind, not even thinking about the dog yet, but just whatever was in their mind, and then see what was left, that might fix the dog completely.
Well, it would definitely change it. But the dog still has its own experience and memory,
okay.
and pattern of behavior, almost like muscle memory, but or habit, right? Like that would, so
it can be reflexive.
Yeah. So
well, I see a face looking very interested there next to Brandon.
This one?
Yeah, can we talk less about it and maybe show, like, Britt, would you use your dog? Brendan, would you allow
Yeah,
that?
let me actually adjust my camera just a little bit down here to help that. Right
so
there.
cute.
Oh God, he's cute.
Oh, what a face.
So
he loves you so much.
This is my favorite of all my dogs, and I say it publicly. The other ones are going deaf, so they really can't hear. This is Chablis, like the wine. That's her name. She's about 14 and a half, almost 15 years this year.
Wow,
coincidentally, she's having something's going on in my house. It's causing her some anxiety. She's been running around behind my chair, kind of coming real fast and kind of sitting with some tension. And I can't really see what's happening. There's no windows open. The other dog's laying calmly right here. So I don't know what's happening, but she does seem a little bit anxious.
And how long has this been going on?
Like 10 minutes. It's just since we've turned this video on or started filming this, she's been kind of coming over here and acting a little bit concerned, running from here, kind of going to the bathroom. And I can't really see what's happening. All I have is a kitchen in front of me in a way, but my windows are closed. There's no noises. So I can't really tell you. She is here present now because she knows I have awesome food and treats here. But that's the only reason I think. I don't know.
Do you think she got a little performance shy?
I mean, she's done TV shows before and done very good. So I don't know, maybe. But something. It sounds like something's happening somewhere, and she's not
With
liking
the
it. Maybe it's a sound or something.
okay, and how do you feel when she gets anxious?
It's I mean, it's a little triggering for me because she's very important to me. And she knows I'm always trying to help her with that, just like any dog I work with. But she's had a history of noise sensitivity and noise phobia that started a few years back, but it hasn't really been that big of a deal the past year or so. So I mean, she's also losing some of her hearing as well. So I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is that that she can hear that nobody else can hear that may be causing this. I don't know. She seems to be better now.
Does she have other anxieties?
I don't think so. Not much. She's a pretty even keeled dog. She doesn't show any anxiety unless there's certain things I feel she hears. Like it's
Okay.
usually really high pitched noises as of late.
And does it make you nervous?
It causes me discomfort and it may be frustrating to some extent because I can't really identify what it is and it's unpredictable and it changes. But for the most part, I've just found, I remove her or close the doors or turn on something that she can kind of override the sound but yes, it's usually not a big deal. It's honestly just something that just happened in the past 15 or so minutes.
Okay. So I'll do a demo with you and then we'll tap with her.
Okay.
And so we start with us with something called the karate chop, and this point is a very calming point. And then we're going to go inside of the eye, outside of the eye, under the nose, under the lips, here and here. But you're going to follow along and repeat after me. Are you ready?
Okay. Yes.
Even though Chablis is perfect in every other way.
Chablis is perfect in every other way.
Every now and then, she gets this anxiety. And I can't identify it. And I love and accept myself. Even though I'm a dog trainer, for crying out loud.
Even though I'm a dog trainer, for crying out loud.
I can't fix this. And I love and accept myself. Even though she's the most important thing in my world. And I wish I could do something more. I honor the choices I'm making. Okay, tapping through the points. I can't believe it. I can't see what it is. It's so frustrating. I am so frustrated. I am so frustrated by this. I try to do everything right. And this is just ridiculous. I don't mean to make her problem small. But it seems pretty dumb. She's got a great life. And I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I'm frustrated. It's so stupid. So stupid. But I'm frustrated. And so then I just put her in a room with a different noise. And then I don't have that problem anymore. But the truth is, I would love to release my frustration. Because I don't want to be frustrated with her. I'm actually sad I'm not helping her.
I'm actually sad I'm not helping her.
I'm really sad
I'm really sad.
because I know she's not here forever.
I know she's not here forever.
So it's super important to me
So it's super important to me.
that she has the best life ever.
She has the best life ever.
I'm going to release my frustration.
I'm going to release my frustration.
I'm going to forgive myself.
I'm going to forgive myself.
Of the anxiety.
Something about the anxiety? If you
It
cut off.
doesn't matter if I don't find the root of the anxiety.
It doesn't matter if I don't find the root of the anxiety.
I just want to make her feel better.
I just want to make her feel better.
I don't have to be the wizard.
I don't have to be the wizard.
I can be the one that helps her feel better.
I can be the one who helps her feel better.
I know I'm giving her a great life.
I know I'm giving her a great life.
I know she has the best life ever.
I know she has the best life ever.
Okay, and take a deep breath. Now, when you think about her having a little weird moment, how do you feel?
I feel I can handle it.
More neutral.
Hmm. Also, watching me do that on film in front of me is making me crack me up a little bit. So that made me feel good.
Yeah, I know. It's really, every time I say to clients, we're about to do something that's going to look really weird. Okay, so let's tap on her real quick.
Definitely do it in a mirror for sure. I think
Um,
that'll make it easy. All right.
so now, okay.
So where would I tap on her?
I'm gonna lead you through the whole thing. So starting with the inside of the eye, I get anxious. No, with inside of her eye. Yeah,
With
right.
her.
Yeah.
Okay, kiddo. Two, like one
Yeah.
spot or two?
Well, with her, she's so small, but so it's right on that eyebrow.
Okay.
Bladder one. I get anxious.
I get anxious.
Outside of the eye, I get anxious.
I get anxious.
Under the eye, I get anxious.
I get anxious.
Top of the nose, I get weird sometimes.
I get. I'm not sure how to do top of the nose.
Right there.
I get weird sometimes.
Under the chin, sometimes I just get weird.
Sometimes I just get weird.
Inside of the chest, but I get a lot of attention.
What's that again?
I get a lot of attention.
But I get a lot of attention.
Top of the head. So it's kind of fun.
So it's kind of fun.
Inside of the eye, I do get anxious.
I do get anxious.
Outside of the eye, I get anxious.
I get anxious.
Under the eye, I get anxious.
I get anxious.
Top of the nose, I hear weird things.
I hear weird things. I don't think she wants to do this anymore. You okay? Your chest?
But see, she's licking and chewing, so she is processing.
Yeah. I have no more snacks in my hands.
All right, can we just finish with the outside, inside of the chest? Just
Yeah.
go inside the chest. Say, I am taken care of.
I am taken care of.
Top of the head, and I get a lot of attention.
And I get a lot of attention. You do get a lot of attention. Good job, baby.
That was very good.
Thank you. I want you for that.
Okay, so with a bigger challenge, I would have gone more into the big emotion, but it seems like a lot of it we did almost relieve with you.
Yeah, she seemed to get better at the end. I don't know. Maybe where I was touching her here and kind of there's maybe something I can do for her to make her feel like this is not so weird for her. It's the first time.
Yeah.
Anything new is kind of, she may be thinking, what are you leading to? Where's this going? Kind of a thing.
But I love that one of the things that you find in EFT, especially with the animals, is sometimes you find a secondary gain. So if I act anxious, then I get a lot of attention. So I think that was kind of a fun thing to find there.
She does know that I give her a lot of attention, probably more, I'm always looking for something to solve, a problem to solve, and use what I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we
Very
found
interesting.
secondary gain for sure.
So she's creating problems so that you can do the
I
work.
wouldn't put it past her. She's a very smart dog. There's 3 dogs in this house, and if she feels like she's not first, she could easily find something to maybe trick me for. I wouldn't put that past her.
Okay.
I used to have a poodle that would limp, little miniature poodle that was limp. She'd hold up her right front paw and walk, and this really sad thing. It drove me to take many x-rays on her before he went, you just want attention. And it's like, then we pet her, and then her lameness would spontaneously cure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You may want to edit this out, but I'm going to say it anyway. There's this wonderful book called Your Pet Isn't Sick. He Just Wants You to Think He Is by Herb Tanzer that specifically describes what you're talking about, Dr. Palmquist.
Oh, yeah. No, look, anything, toddlers do it, babies do it, whatever works to get attention is how they solve problems. Joan, I had a question, and Christine had talked about this, and you talked about it, but I actually don't know the details. Didn't you do something with the shelters in Michigan, like the Michigan Shelter Project? Can you tell us about that? Because we're just about to the end of the show.
I would love to. So over the years, a lot of shelters, and I lived in Seattle for a long time, and then I moved down here 8 years ago. But in the Seattle area, I started going into shelters that would have me come in and teach animal communication to the staff and volunteers. And then I started doing tapping, and I did it like almost every Friday. I volunteered somewhere to tap on the most unadoptable, and every one of them got adopted.
Wow. So
what we started doing with the Michigan shelter is we have a big program where we taught the staff and volunteers. Of course, they still want me to come back, so that's I do. But we did animal communication and found just the basic root of what was going on for each of the animals. And we took the most unadoptable, the ones that were reactive, the ones that were overly exuberant, the ones that were shut down and timid, and then the ones that were overlooked for whatever reason, like maybe they'd had a surgery or something that made not seemingly adoptable. And we worked with them. And so there isn't a person involved with this, right? Like there isn't, in this situation, we've got the person and the animal that we just tapped with. But when we look at things like this, where the animal only has its history, we start unlocking what those feelings are. And generally what I found is that, we love to go in and say, oh, all these animals were abused. No, they're really grieving. So when we move the grief through, the grief of whatever it is that they were, that they lost, even if we would have a judgment about it, whether it's a hoarding situation or they were a bait dog, they still loved somebody and they still had purpose in what they were doing, and they've lost that. And so the animal communication helps them feel seen and heard. And then the tapping helps them release these trapped emotions. And so all of them got adopted. I even had, I worked in Missouri this last winter. I was teaching the staff and volunteers animal communication, and they said, oh, there's a cat that will never get adopted. She hates everybody. She's mean. Let's tap with her. So I thought, all right. So we walk into this room, and I had like 12 people with me, and she immediately hissed at me and ran to the other side of the outside. So I did what's called remote tapping. I just kind of air tapped on her. Just imagine the inside of her eye, the outside of her eye. And I tapped on, that she had lost somebody and that nobody cared enough to come and get her, and that she was not liked by people, and she didn't like people. And she started rubbing up against the staff and volunteers' legs within 2 days after I tapped with her. And she's been adopted. She'd been there 3 years. So that, you know,
We need to do an episode that's just stories, smart pet stories.
Right.
We need to do
Absolutely.
that. And because, Tina Turner got famous singing a song, What's Love Got to Do with It? But everything.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Everything.
true. But now in Michigan, you're expanding it. Tell us
We're,
about that.
yeah, we're going to bring in other shelters and teach them and get, we want to get this worldwide so that there's no such thing as unadoptable pets.
Works on kids too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, for people who are watching and think that they have to, they look at it and go like, well, I would never know what questions to ask. This is a procedure to play with. I've done this and never said a word, just had a wicked, scary cat that we just would start just tapping with nothing other than just, I want you to find your safe space. Just that intent, and just gently tap. And then they go, I'm going to cut your hand off. And we tap a little bit more. And then they go, I'm going to eat you up to the elbow. And then you go like, I know you're really upset, but maybe I'm not the threatening thing that you think I am. Just keeping that safe space there. And then all of a sudden they settle down. Doesn't work all the time. Sometimes I get bit, but it's worked enough times that it's worth doing. And we very rarely have to sedate animals in our clinic to work on them because they get to know that we're there in that space. And we need to do a show also about just how animal communicators and veterinarians can work together to actually help accomplish just that, to create a safe space so that we can find out what's really bothering the animal and then address that rather than just knock them out because they're being angry.
Well, no,
I
thing I wanted to bring up was, I don't use the words negative or positive because I think that all emotion is very important, right? Like if a dog is afraid, animals in the wild, if they're afraid, it saves their lives. So we have this fear of fear here as humans, but fear saves lives. So, and it's a great GPS. So I like to say that we take the challenging emotion and move to the outcome. And every being on the planet just wants safety. They just want safety. So if you always end with like, I'm safe, I'm always taken care of, then,
love.
That's the horror of the politics
Safety
we're in
and
right
love.
now, is that we have people presenting every day to people that they're not safe and that they're not going to survive unless they do something. And that is not necessarily the truth of the universe.
I want you to reiterate again, Joan, for people, because about the remote EFT, because if you have animals that are ill and you're traveling and you're away from them and you're worried about them and you aren't able to cancel your trip, if you see an injured wild animal, if you see an animal that's been hit but run off and you can't find it, it doesn't matter. You can imagine them. So speak for just a moment, a little more about that.
Well, I do EFT tapping with people on the phone every day around the world. So I'm sitting here in Santa Clarita. But you can air tap, which is tapping, imagining the points and tapping on the face. You could tap on your own animal. I used to have a dog that was my dream surrogate, and she would just lay there and I would watch her breathing change and I would know to transition in the screen. And then you can also get a stuffed animal. So there's lots of ways to do it. I've had animals that you just can't even touch. And so I've done it on the animal that's also in the household because everybody's nervous system is linked up anyway. So if one calms, we all calm.
And that is one of the most important things you've said all day today, Joan. If one calms, we all calm. What do we need in the whole world? For plants, animals, fires, everything that's happening, we need calming. So the more you do EFT, the more you're going to be helping the entire planet.
Well, I honestly believe that animal communication and EFT could create global peace.
Joan, this has been an amazing show. And I know that for anyone watching that would like to learn more about it, you have a university. Could you just talk briefly about what that is about?
Sure. I have a school called Communication with All Life University, and we have everything from little digital classes to get you started to a 2-year program. And in it, people learn animal communication, EFT, and even something called scan wave. And they're all very complementary techniques that work together. And then I also take people on wildlife trips.
Ooh, that's exciting. Well, thank you so much. And thank you everyone for this amazing show. We kept it in the family today and it was so, so worth it. Loved every minute of it. And Joan, for anybody that wants to connect with you, can you give us your social handles or what's the best way to stay in touch with you?
Yeah, we have my website is Joan Ranquet, JoanRanquet.com. And that's that's who I am on all the social outlets.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It reminds me of a quote from Benjamin Hoff, this conversation. Lots of people talk to animals, not very many of them listen, and that is the problem. Medical information obtained from our website or the live show is not intended to be a substitute for professional care. If your pet has or you suspect they might have an illness or other medical condition, you should consult a healthcare provider. The opinions expressed on this TV program are not necessarily those of Smart Pet Talk, this TV show, or their sponsors. For all questions or info on sponsorship, email us at info@smartpettalk.com or visit our website at smartpettalk.com.